House of the Dragon gave us dragons, political intrigue, and some of the most despised characters in television history. From entitled princes to manipulative schemers, the Dance of the Dragons introduced us to people we love to hate, and some we just plain hated. In this video, I'm ranking the 10 most hated characters from House of the Dragon based on fan reactions, online discourse, and the sheer volume of hate they generated. This isn't about who was the worst person morally, it's about who made viewers want to throw their remotes at the screen. But before we dive in, let me clarify something. Being hated doesn't mean the character or actor was bad. Sometimes the most hated characters are brilliantly written and perfectly performed. The question is simple: who did fans despise the most? So let's count down the 10 most hated characters in House of the Dragon, starting with number 10, Larys Strong. Clubfoot Larys earned his spot on this list through sheer creepiness rather than outright villainy. The younger son of House Strong became one of the most unsettling characters in the series, and fans couldn't stand him from his first major scene. Larys' defining moment of hatred came when he arranged the murder of his own father and brother by burning them alive at Harrenhal, all to gain favor with Queen Alicent. This wasn't a heat-of-the-moment decision or a necessary evil. It was cold, calculated patricide for political advancement. What makes Larys particularly hated is his disturbing relationship with Alicent. The scenes where he provides information in exchange for, let's call it foot access, made viewers physically uncomfortable. It wasn't just evil, it was creepy evil, which somehow feels worse. Fans hated Larys because he represented the worst kind of opportunist, someone with no loyalty, no principles, and no boundaries. He's the guy who would sell out anyone for the smallest advantage, and his unsettling demeanor made every scene with him feel like a shower was needed afterward. Number 9. Sir Criston Cole. The Kingmaker earned significant fan hatred, though opinions on him are more divided than others on this list. Criston started as a sympathetic character, a low-born knight elevated to the Kingsguard who genuinely seemed to care for Rhaenyra. Then, everything changed. After their intimate encounter and Rhaenyra's rejection of his proposal to run away together, Criston became bitter, resentful, and increasingly violent. His murder of Joffrey Lonmouth at Rhaenyra's wedding feast was brutal and unprovoked, showing a man who couldn't control his emotions. What really made fans hate Criston was his hypocrisy. He broke his Kingsguard vows with Rhaenyra, then spent years judging her for her own indiscretions. He positioned himself as honorable while committing murder and treason. His devotion to Alicent seemed less about principle and more about spite toward Rhaenyra. However, Criston doesn't rank higher because some fans sympathize with his position. He was used by Rhaenyra, manipulated by Alicent, and trapped in a system that gave him no good options. His hatred is real, but it's complicated. Number 8. Sir Otto Hightower. The Hand of the King and Alicent's father represents the calculating political operator that fans love to hate. Otto's every move was designed to advance his family's power, and he showed no hesitation in using his own daughter as a pawn. Otto's most hated moment came early, sending young Alicent to comfort the grieving King Viserys after his wife's death. This wasn't fatherly concern, it was political maneuvering using his teenage daughter as bait. The fact that it worked and led to Alicent's marriage doesn't make it less manipulative. Throughout the series, Otto consistently pushed for conflict over compromise. He wanted Rhaenyra's children investigated and delegitimized. He advocated for Aegon's claim over Rhaenyra's despite Viserys' clear wishes. He orchestrated the coup that crowned Aegon while Viserys' body was still warm. What makes Otto particularly hated is his self-righteousness. He genuinely believes he's serving the realm while pursuing naked ambition. Fans hate him because he's the embodiment of political corruption wrapped in a cloak of duty and honor. Number 7. Daemon Targaryen. This ranking will be controversial because Daemon has a massive fan base, but he also has significant haters, and for good reason. The Rogue Prince is charismatic, powerful, and absolutely ruthless in ways that make many viewers deeply uncomfortable. Daemon's most hated moments are numerous. He celebrated his nephew's death as heir for a day. He groomed his teenage niece Rhaenyra. He murdered his first wife by crushing her skull with a rock. He ordered the assassination that led to the brutal murder of a child in the Blood and Cheese incident. What divides fans on Daemon is whether his charisma and occasional heroism outweigh his monstrous actions. His supporters see a complex anti-hero. His haters see a violent, manipulative predator who gets away with terrible things because he's attractive and rides a dragon. The reason Daemon doesn't rank higher is that his fan base is genuinely massive. For every viewer who despises him, there's another who considers him the best character in the show. That division keeps him from the top spots reserved for universally hated characters. Number 6. Sir Tyland Lannister. A more minor character, but Thailand earned significant fan hatred through his smug competence and unwavering support for the Greens. As Master of Ships and later Master of Coin, Thailand represented everything fans hated about the Green faction's political maneuvering. Thailand's most hated moment was his role in the coup following Viserys' death. He helped orchestrate the seizure of the treasury, the lockdown of King's Landing, and the forced coronation of Aegon. His efficiency in betraying Viserys' wishes made him particularly despicable. What makes Thailand hated is his complete lack of doubt. He never questions whether crowning Aegon is right, he just does it with bureaucratic efficiency. Fans hate him because he represents the banality of evil, the functionary who enables terrible things through competent administration. However, Thailand doesn't rank higher because he's ultimately a minor player. He's hated, but he doesn't generate the visceral reaction that the top characters do. Number 5. Alicent Hightower. The queen who sparked a civil war generates intense hatred from a significant portion of the fanbase, though like Daemon, she has her defenders. Alicent's journey from Rhaenyra's friend to her greatest enemy forms the emotional core of the series, and many fans never forgave her for it. Alicent's most hated moments include her attack on young Lucerys after Aemon lost his eye, her years of poisoning her children against Rhaenyra, and her misinterpretation of Viserys' dying words to justify crowning Aegon. Each action pushed the realm closer to war. What makes Alicent particularly hated by her detractors is her self-righteousness. She positions herself as the moral authority, judging Rhaenyra for the same kinds of indiscretions that powerful men commit constantly. Her obsession with propriety and legitimacy, while married to a king who clearly wanted Rhaenyra to succeed him, feels hypocritical. However, Alicent doesn't rank higher because many fans sympathize with her position. She was used by her father, trapped in a marriage she didn't choose, and genuinely believed her children were in danger. Her hatred is significant, but not universal. Number 4. Aegon II Targaryen. The usurper king earned his spot through a combination of entitlement, cruelty, and weakness. From his first appearance, Aegon showed himself to be everything a king shouldn't be. A drunken, entitled brat who cared more about pleasure than duty. Aegon's most hated moment came with the revelation of his treatment of serving girls. The show strongly implied he committed sexual assault, and his complete lack of remorse or consequences made fans despise him. His whining about not wanting to be king while simultaneously demanding the throne showed his fundamental selfishness. What makes Aegon particularly hated is that he has no redeeming qualities. He's not clever like Larys, charismatic like Daemon, or even competent like Otto. He's just a spoiled prince who stumbled into power and used it to indulge his worst impulses. His treatment of his wife Helaena, his neglect of his children, and his general incompetence as king all contributed to fan hatred. Even his suffering after being burned by his brother didn't generate much sympathy. Most fans felt he deserved it. Number 3. Vaemond Valerian. For a character who appeared in only a few episodes, Vaemond generated an extraordinary amount of fan hatred. The younger brother of Corlys Velaryon challenged Lucerys' claim to Driftmark, and his arguments, while legally sound, made him one of the most despised characters in the series. Vaemond's most hated moment was his speech before the Iron Throne, where he called Rhaenyra's children bastards and called Rhaenyra herself a whore. The legal argument was valid, but the venom with which he delivered it and his clear ambition to steal his own nephew's inheritance made fans hate him. What makes Vaemond's hatred so intense is that he represented the patriarchal system at its worst. He was willing to disinherit children and destroy his own family's stability purely for personal ambition. His death, beheaded by Daemon, was one of the most cheered moments in the series. Vaemond ranks so high because his hatred was universal. Even fans who supported the Greens generally disliked him. He was ambitious without being clever, traditional without being honorable, and his brief appearance left a lasting impression of pure spite. Number 2. Aemon Targaryen. One-Eyed Aemon is perhaps the most complex entry on this list. He has a significant fan base who see him as a tragic figure, but he also generated intense hatred for his actions and attitude. The younger son of Alicent became one of the most dangerous players in the Dance of the Dragons. Aemon's most hated moment was killing Lucerys and his dragon Arax. Whether it was intentional or an accident of dragon control doesn't matter to most fans. Aemon's pursuit of his nephew through a storm, his taunting, and his clear desire to terrorize Luke made him responsible. This act started the true bloodshed of the war. What makes Aemon particularly hated is his combination of competence and cruelty. Unlike his brother Aegon, Aemon is intelligent, skilled, and effective. He's a genuine threat, which makes him more frightening. His burning of his own brother, whether intentional or not, showed his ruthlessness. However, Aemon doesn't claim the top spot because of his tragic elements. He was bullied as a child, lost his eye defending his brother, and was clearly overlooked in favor of the incompetent Aegon. Some fans see him as a villain created by circumstance rather than pure evil. Number 1. The Crab Feeder, Drahar. The most hated character in House of the Dragon is actually one who barely spoke, Drahar, the Crab Feeder. This Myrish prince who controlled the Stepstones generated universal revulsion through his signature method of execution. The Crab Feeder earned his name by staking his victims on beaches at low tide and letting the crabs eat them alive as the tide came in. This method of torture was so horrific that it united fans in hatred. There was no complexity, no sympathy, no understanding his position. He was pure evil. What makes the Crab Feeder the most hated is the simplicity of that hatred. Every other character on this list has defenders, people who understand their motivations or sympathize with their positions. The Crab Feeder has none. He was a monster who tortured people in the most horrific way imaginable. His death at Daemon's hands was satisfying precisely because there was no moral complexity. He deserved it, everyone knew he deserved it, and his removal from the show was celebrated universally. In a series full of morally gray characters, the Crab Feeder stood out as purely black. So there you have it, the 10 most hated characters in House of the Dragon, ranked by fan reactions. From Larys' creepy opportunism to the Crab Feeder's pure evil, these characters made us cringe, rage, and sometimes cheer when they finally got what was coming to them. But what do you think? Did I rank these characters correctly? Is Daemon too low? Should Alicent be higher? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like this video and subscribe to Explainified for more deep dives into your favorite shows. And check out our video on the most beloved House of the Dragon characters to see the flip side of this ranking. Thanks for watching, and remember, in the Dance of the Dragons, being hated by fans doesn't mean you're a bad character. Sometimes it means the writers did their job perfectly.